What is up everyone, Alex here with another champion skin tier list, this time on Rek'Sai the Void Burrower. So Rek'Sai is an interesting champion because she's probably the closest thing to a wild animal as opposed to a sentient character. Rek'Sai belongs to the Voidborn, same category with Cho'Gath, Kha'Zix, Kog'Maw, those kinds of champions. Now, you might be thinking, you can't call Rek'Sai a wild animal, especially when you bring up Cho'Gath. Well, first of all, Cho'Gath is a gentleman, as we all know, like that's canon. Don't look it up, just believe me. But I'm not even the one who called her a wild animal. All those Void champs I just mentioned, yeah, they're the ones that are scared to death of her. Kind of the exact same way you'd be scared of a grizzly bear, but also if said grizzly bear could burrow underground and hunt you down in an area spanning hundreds of miles. One sec, I'm gonna go lock my doors real quick. I got really scared really fast. Rek'Sai is also a criminally underplayed champion while still maintaining a pretty serious win rate, which obviously means the people who main her are pretty dedicated and have gotten good with her. This means if you ever see an enemy Rek'Sai, be tentatively respectful. This lack of popularity means that if we include Rek'Sai's release skin, she only has 5 skins total, which is pretty lackluster for a champion who's been out for over 7 years. Really? Okay. Well, we're going to take these skins and rank them in a tier list today, and I know what you're thinking. Really, Alex? A tier list with 5 entries? Look, if you guys want me to make tier lists for people like Lux, Ezreal, and Ahri who have like 800 skins, I'm going to have to take care of the champions with, well, less of those, especially if I'm going to make it a point of getting a video out every single week like I want to eventually get to. So, in order of release, we have Original, Eternum, Pool Party, Black Frost, and Elderwood being her newest skin as of me making this video. So, let's start with her base look. So, the weirdest thing to me, just starting out, is that Rek'Sai is basically the terrifying sandworm creature from Dune, right? She's this crazy animalistic force of nature that lives under the sands and forces people and monsters to avoid her at all costs. Her being purple and blue seems weird for this particular lore. I know she's Voidborn, but Kog'Maw isn't blue and purple. He's other colors, so why couldn't she be? But again, nitpicking, this is kind of a whatever point. Rek'Sai's model does do a good job of conveying that force of nature vibe that she has. She snarls and growls instead of speaking an actual discernible language, and she's definitely high up on the list of champions that I would not want to see barreling at me at full speed, both in-game and in real life. I also like how they stress that land shark archetype of monster with the fin on her back. It's cool design for a monster, but not really a character, which I want to assume is one of the 2 main reasons people don't play her. Her design is kind of hard to identify with. And by design, I mean lack of personality. The other reason I think Rek'Sai isn't that popular is that when she's underground, your vision gets heavily reduced. Kind of like if you were constantly grave smokescreen. The only redeeming factor of this is that you can see the tremors of people and mobs moving around you. This really drives home the Dune inspiration for this character. I guess also the weird bug things from Half-Life 2. This is just kind of a really different playstyle than any other champion, making her difficult to just pick up and play. At least for average players like me. On to her spell effects, they are exactly what you'd see with a Void champ, using shadowy purple and black effects. Even when she's using her tunnels, you have the cave part of it with dark energy coming out of the entrance. There's a really immature joke in there somewhere, but I'll leave that to smarter people like you guys to come up with. Her recall is her snarling and growling like she does, and also to add to her terrifying image, she has the same mouth that the Predator aliens do. You know, just in case you needed help not sleeping tonight. Awesome. Her joke has her doing a flip and a handstand like some carnival bear doing tricks. Her taunt has her doing the finger across neck thing. You know the one. Don't be like Drax. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Why would I put my finger on his throat? What?
After doing that, she then smashes a rock on the ground to further intimidate her opponents. And her dance has her breakdancing, which is fine. Not a ton of stuff you can do for a champion who doesn't talk. Honestly, this isn't even a Riot thing. This would have been hard to do for anyone. So, as usual for a champion's base skin, this is going to go to the top of C tier, which gives us a baseline to work with for all the other skins going forward. Next up is Rek'Sai's release skin, Eternum. It costs 1350 RP, which is essentially the standard skin price. So the Eternum skin line is incredibly sparse, having only 3 skins in it total, including this one. The others are Nocturne and Cassiopeia. She has the silver chrome look to her now with these red lights all over. She looks really cool, really intimidating. She also gets a voice filter, which is kind of hilarious to me because of the whole no talking thing. But if you combine all of those things, this is a properly badass vibe she has going on. Not to mention all her spell effects get this really cool red lightning look to them that I think is a significant improvement on her normal effects. Something I tend to not talk about much with skins is sound effects, and that's only because I'm mostly deaf, apparently, but this one has really good ones. They all sound really solid and have this futuristicness to them that just sounds really great. Even coming out of her burrowing mode, she has these metallic spikes that accompany it. It also just looks really great. Her burrow tunnels are also different because having this robot skin using rocky tunnels wouldn't have made much sense. They are now these mechanical portal-looking things. This is kind of predictable, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The recall is different, not in a crazy way, but you don't have Rek'Sai snarling with spit everywhere, and the weird predator mouth is gone, and that's just going to be better for everyone. There's also this crazy red energy during the last half of the recall that looks cool. The joke, taunt, and dance all remain the same. Disappointing, sure, but again, not really surprising here. Listen, some of these entries are going to be kind of quick, like for example, this one. It do be like that sometimes. I myself am incredibly good at rambling and word vomiting about things, but sometimes I just run out of stuff to say. So that leads us to where this skin goes on the tier list. I'm going to put it in A tier. This skin is just really good. I don't really have anything to complain about on this skin. It's just really solid overall. The only reason it's in A tier rather than S tier is just that I like another skin just a little bit more. The next skin up is the Pool Party Rek'Sai skin, another 1350 RP cost. So, okay, fun fact about me, I actually hate the Pool Party skins. Just generally speaking, I'm pretty biased against them. I hate the water sound effects, and they're usually just really, really cheesy to me. This skin line is easily like the skin line where I just don't like it. Every time a new wave of these gets announced, I just have the biggest meh reaction to them. They just sort of exist for me. I think everyone has those skins that they just don't really care about. Now, I am always willing to be proven wrong though, so maybe this one will be that case. Let's take a look. I immediately think this skin is predictable in that you take the land shark character and make them just, well, a shark now. Predictable, but like, what else were you really gonna do? So I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend to be mad about that. In fact, I think it's kind of cute that Rek'Sai gets clothes with the skin, with the snorkel, the life jacket, the floaties. That's actually kind of adorable. So fine, already we're doing pretty good here. Now, all the spell effects get the water treatment to them. Now, it is a personal thing, but I hate the splashy look. I hate the splashing sound of these sorts of effects. They always just seem kind of lame to me. And even though I know it absolutely doesn't work like this, I always feel like I am doing less damage with these effects. Like with the last skin, you get this red electricity on her effects, but now you get splashing around in water. Okay. So I'm kind of just ranting a lot, like I can hear how much of an ass I'm being, and it's mean. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna move on. I like that when she's underground, it's actually water around her, and when she unburrows, it's with a big splash of water. These are kind of neat touches that don't really break the whole skin's continuity. Her tunnels are now inner tubes, which is also pretty cute. Her recall is pretty cool, unless you really like frogs, which I do, so it's actually horrifying. It has her circling a frog who's just chilling on his lily pad before she just absolutely demolishes him, and it makes me sad. It's a good recall, just my sensitive ass thinks about that poor frog and his family. He's just pixels on a screen, bro. You really need to get into therapy and get it together. Like, yikes. What's next? Oh my god, this skin has a home guard animation and it's actually good? Rek'Sai gets a whole ass jet ski to just ride around on. So you gotta know that this is Mobius's favorite skin.
There is a beautiful union of form and function, which we call the jet ski, and a reasonable man cannot differ.
God, I hope some people understood that reference. Insanity. It's pretty rare for a 1350 RP cost skin to get one of these, so that's actually really impressive. No new animations for the dance, joke, and taunt, but you know what this skin does have? Chromas. Chromas are always cool and everyone universally loves them. Now, that last part's not true. Some people don't like them because it's just Riot squeezing more money out of you, which is kind of their job, by the way, just letting you know. But also, I always think that these are better to have than not have, because what if you absolutely love everything about the skin except the shade of the skin bothers you, like the clothes or the outfit, just stuff like that? Well, then chromas are there to fix it. The obsidian one is the only one out of these that I like for this skin, but that's kind of a specific taste kind of thing. So I wonder where we're actually going to set this skin in the tier list. So even with my hatred of this skin line, I will admit that this skin is actually not bad. It's pretty cute, and probably Rek'Sai's most light-hearted skin, which every champ does need one of these. Some champions have too many of these. It has a lot of cool stuff to the skin, but for me personally, it's brought down by some of the effects, just kind of aggravating me. This might be the hottest take of the video. I don't really know how beloved this skin is in the Rek'Sai community. Please don't attack me, but I'm going to set it in B tier as the sole entry there for the moment. That's not even a bad score. Do not get mad if you like this skin. By all means, enjoy. The next skin we're going to talk about is the Black Frost Rek'Sai skin, yet another one that costs 1350 RP with a bunch of chromas. Just going to talk about them early, get it out of the way. It's part of modern League nowadays. Most skins that come out just have chromas to them. You have to accept that. Obsidian and Pearl being the best looking ones to me, but chromas in my opinion are absolutely super subjective. So this skin makes it look like Rek'Sai is made up of diamonds and big ice chunks, which, like, duh, based off the name of the skin. It looks fine. She kind of does look like Glacial Malphite though, but if they were absolutely committed to making this skin specifically, I honestly don't know what they could have done to avoid this. Spell effects have this frosty aesthetic to them, and because the skin line is called Black Frost, they take advantage of using blue and black icy spell effects that look pretty solid. You have no idea the amount of self-restraint I had to use to avoid calling these effects cool. I know, super lame. Guys, just chill out, okay? Come on. Rek'Sai also gets these cool runes around her when she's underground that are pretty different than any other effects she gets for her burrowed mode. Whenever ice-themed skins get runic effects to them, I can't help but think of Vikings and Norse lore-related stuff, so I'm usually a big fan of these kinds of effects. I love the ice spikes that appear when she unburrows under a champion. They look massive, they look significant, they have this cool sound to them that just looks and sounds devastating. Because it should be. Visually speaking, the only thing that doesn't really do it for me with this skin is Rek'Sai's back legs look kind of just spindly and pathetic, but it's just one of those nitpicky things that I only noticed because I overanalyze this kind of stuff. Kind of what I do here on these videos. Her tunnels have this layered, icy look to them that probably makes them my favorite looking tunnels we've seen so far. Her recall shows her going back to form with a lot of growling and snarling and screaming while creating an icy rock to clamber up to do more, well, growling, snarling, and screaming, which is fine. It's fine. It's part of her character. Nothing new when it comes to her dance or her joke, but although her taunt is essentially the same, the rock she crushes is different. Now, is this crazy cool? No. Is it really going to make a difference? Also, no. I just wanted to mention it before we place the actual entry. Honestly, I think the skin goes into A tier, right below Eternum. It's good, very little I can talk shit on here. I just like Eternum a little more is all. So last entry is Rek'Sai's newest skin, the Elderwood skin. This is yet another one that costs 1350 RP, and yet another champion who doesn't have a legendary skin. That's what, the third one in the last 4 videos? Riot, what are you even doing, dudes? Some people are on their second one, their third one if you include ultimates, and that's just crazy to think about. So the first thing about the skin is that it's just really, really pretty. You can say that about almost all of the Elderwood skins. They just use these really fun, vivid colors that you don't see too often. And what can I say? My serotonin-starved brain needs those fancy colors to feel a little joy in life. Was that too real? Too melodramatic? I'll move on to something a little less dramatic than that. Well, honestly, looking at these spell effects, that's not going to happen. They're all really dramatic, actually. They all have this purple and black flourish to them that looks insanely artistic and well-polished. There are all these flowers and mushrooms that come out with just about every one of her spell effects, the most dramatic being when she unburrows. Honestly, the only flaw I personally have with the skin is that while using it, I feel like I'd be incredibly distracted the entire time looking at all the pretty lights because my ADHD-riddled brain would just see the pretty colors and I'd stop paying attention to the echoes and I'd wind up getting caught like a total silver noob that I am. But that's why I don't stream League here. I rank skins. I feel like you all could get terribly mean, and my poor mental just couldn't take it. This skin does have access to a whole slew of chromas to choose from. Honestly, I feel like I just err on the side that picking no chroma with this skin is the best option, just because I feel like the spell effects work best with it. We don't get anything new for her joke, dance, or taunt, but her recall is different with her sprouting a tree with a big ol' sparkly flower that sprouts from the top of it. So look, call it recency bias, I don't really care, but when it comes to where we're gonna put this skin, it's gonna be set into the S tier. It's my favorite skin out of hers. I think it's phenomenal. I don't think a majority of people are gonna look at this and be like, nope, you're wrong. How dare you? I know some people are gonna disagree and pick another one, but I don't think you can say the skin sucks. And, well, that's the list. So I know this was a shorter video. Those are gonna happen from time to time. Them's the breaks of these types of videos. Some champions have an immensely large collection to pull from. Just look at Ezreal and Lux after all. And some champions won't. Just look at Rek'Sai and Skarner. It looks like I'm averaging a tier list every 2 weeks at the moment because I do work for a living and I'm busy pretending I have a social life as well, but I do enjoy making these a lot, and rest assured when you see me release a skin tier list for a champion with not a lot of skins, it's probably to give myself some buffer space to work on the longer videos, so just keep a lookout for those. If you're new here, subscribe so you can keep up with all the newer stuff. Like I said, new videos every 2 weeks on Saturdays. That's the goal anyway. I'm gonna slowly but surely try and whittle that down to every Saturday, but baby steps. And of course, like, comment, share, all that YouTube-y stuff. You guys are smart. You know about this stuff. If you like the content, interact with it so I know it's what people are liking. I'm happy to say I don't actually get too many negative comments. There's occasionally one dumbass here and there every so often, but generally you guys are pretty dope, and I enjoy seeing the comments ranging from people asking me for an update on the older tier list to people just talking about their day. That last one's the sole reason I even have a slight interest in streaming. Not League though. God, I've seen how awful people get while watching League. If people trash talk pros that are streaming, I certainly don't stand a chance. And I don't feel like making my depression any worse. I think that's about it for the video. Outros are tricky sometimes because all you can really do is do the dumb calls to action that are basically mandatory and then say something like, I've been Alex and I will see you all in the next one. So, like, I've been Alex and I will see you all in the next one. I could have written that better.